All right, how are we? Welcome back. Not my ideal time, but I've got a little bit of time. I thought I'd come down and I am going to do a bit of scouting. I'm going to show you another beach that's got a little bit different structure. This one here that I'm heading down to, it shouldn't have a front section. We have just had low tide. But I have brought the 11-foot rapid spin from Assassin with me. And the aim is to go and pester a flathead to hit one of my metal slicers or hard bodies. So we will set this up on the chest cam and we will walk up and down this beach, show you a bit of the structure. It can be weedy here at times, a lot of seaweed. But I think, yeah, this time of day I don't normally head down the beach. I thought, because then we're going to do some scouting, I thought I'd bring the camera, bring the rod, because you just never know. And we'll see what we can find. I'd love to, I've got some herring from this morning for lunch, but I'd love to add a nice little lizard for the wife and myself for our lunch. So we're going to have fish wraps today. So there is going to be a lot of swimmers in the water. There's going to be a lot of people around. It is obviously not ideal time to come down. But I am looking for, again, established weed beds, anything that I can use to my advantage to find the fish. But it is pretty busy, so we'll give it a quick try, put a few lures on, and I'll show you what the water looks like. Let's get into it. I've just put on a 30-gram metal. I like to use metals first, just to see if I can actually sight cast any schools of fish, because you will actually find schools of herring and tailor. They'll actually sit, if you can find those weed beds, they'll actually sit and just hold on those weed beds. But the key will be to locate some flathead. So I usually have 5 to 10 casts. I'll show you different speeds of retrieve. I'm going to get a little bit wet. As I said, you could come here and just, chuck out a bait rod. The water is obviously super clear. Not a lot of actual loose weed. We do get the loose weed here as well. That wind's going to swing to a southwest pretty soon, I think. So I'm just going to punch this out. Again, you can see how shallow, it's quite shallow being low tide. Let's have a little cast, a little loopy cast, the first one. Just gonna let that sink. I'm not casting out far because whatever fish are here, they're not gonna be out deep anyway, but this is more just have a look at the beach. I'm not really actually expecting to catch anything. It's more just to see how deep the water is, how strong that current is. And if I can see any weed beds, maybe, think about coming back with some burley during the week. But you see a lot of sand in the front bit here, so there'll be no bait in close. But the water is really, really clean. So I'm just going to have a few casts of this metal, just see if I can disturb a flathead that's sitting on the bottom, come and grab it. I just put a clip on. I don't really waste time with the loop knots when I'm coming down here. I'm only really just doing a scouting mission. So I'm just trying to stay out of the swimmer's way. There's a little ping there. And I'm not casting it far at all. And every now and then I'll do a couple of hops, like as if I'm jigging it, a couple of little twitches. I don't really want to crank it in because I haven't located any fish. So it's going to have probably another 2 or 3 casts. I might then put on a smaller lure. I'm not going to hang around very long. I just want to see pretty much, the water's clean. I can't see any weed beds currently. So it's more just to get down and put my feet in the water. This area here though, it can get very swelly. So when the swell is up, it's a really hard spot to fish. But look, it's not really any front section. It's pretty much you can just cast out, but I can pretty much see the bottom here, so I don't expect too much other than maybe to upset a flathead and trick it into having a go at the metals. And believe me, the amount of flathead I've caught using metals and micro jigs is more than I can count. So I'm going to have one more cast. I can't see any schools of fish. I'm not going to go too far up and down the beach because, as I said, it's more just to have a quick look. I will put on a smaller profile in a second to see if I can trick something else. It's still got the moon up, which I really don't like, if I'm being honest. We've got the micro jigs. I really do like the micro jigs off the beach. I like to throw sort of 10, 15 grams. This one's 20, just because I've got the breeze now. And yeah, again, you'll get tailor, flathead, skippy, pretty much everything that swims off the beach will hit this. But they've got to be in the area. They're not going to actually come and search your lure. You know, that's the thing with lure fishing. You need to I sort of think about it as if I was a fish and what I'd be doing. You know, if you go fish around reef, rock walls and groins, you've already got that structure where the bait and fish is holding. On the beach, there's a couple of scenarios I look at. You know, you can have situations where you've got tailor or salmon busting up bait and you can, you know, physically sight cast into those schools. But a lot of the time, like I'm doing now, if I'm just aimlessly casting into this beach, there's no real reason I'm going to catch them, because there's, you know, other than a flathead cruising along, I haven't got any burley, I can't see any signs of life. So when I do my lure fishing, I generally will fish around reef and structure, or if I do decide I want to go fish off an open beach, I'm setting up some burley, I'm catching fish, generally with bait first, or I'm making sure I can see some fish, you know, actively feeding, because otherwise, you know, I've got to hit the fish on the head with my lure, and it's, you know, the odds of that happening are extremely rare. Don't get me wrong, I love throwing lures everywhere, but I guess when you're getting into lure fishing, especially off the beaches, you've got to think, why am I casting in that area? Why would the fish be there? So I've always had more success around rock walls, groins and reef, no question. But again, when the fish are feeding off the beach and they're schooling up, you can have a lot of fun with lures as well. I've actually fallen into a few deeper holes. I am slowly walking up and down this little bit of beach. I've actually almost gone in waist deep there. So it's interesting to know there's a few deeper holes in this front section. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a massive problem, but there is a few larger bits that have got deeper sections in it. You know, and the other thing as well, when you're beach fishing, I'm always in the mornings or afternoons, I'm looking if the birds are working the area. That tells me there might be some schooling fish busting up the bait, or there's actual just bait in the area. But I can't see, other than that flathead I sighted, which I can't see anymore, I've seen no signs of life here, so and that's okay. Oh, every time I see a shadow, I think it's a flathead. The conditions are everything. There is some weed in the water, so I'm not going to get too carried away. But yeah, the conditions at Metro, land-based, off these beaches are everything. They're the difference between catching fish and not catching fish. Along with, I said, luck, time. Time's probably the biggest one. You've still got to have the right conditions for those fish to come and feed. And I forget, the morning window, bite window is at 30 to 40 minutes. It's so short to get up so early and have a crack. So I really am hopeful that some of these afternoons the wind will drop and I can go and fish longer. So yeah, I'm just bouncing that jig up and down, twitching it. Just trying to create any bit of disturbance for Mr. Flathead to say, hey, that's my lunch. As I said, I didn't, even the wife said, don't worry, we've got the herring. I said, yeah, I know, but I said, I was going to go look anyway. So I may as well. As you can see, I've got swimmers here now. So I'm not obviously going to cast in a minute, I'm going to wait. Going to be respectful because they're already in the water. That's the thing with summer too in Perth. You've got to be mindful. Everyone has the right to enjoy these beaches. Just because I've got a rod doesn't mean I own this area. They're already in the water. I've got to be mindful. I'm not even going to cast near them. I don't want to, scare them, upset them. It's just part of it. And that's, for me, why I like to fish really early or in the afternoons, just to avoid that extra traffic. But I've got no issues with people coming down and enjoying the beach. I don't own this water, that's for sure. So, might have just a couple more casts. So I'm just letting those swimmers go about their business. But I can't see any signs of life, which I was pretty sure that was going to be the case. And go have a look at one more beach. Well, oh, we are on. All right, we've actually hooked the fish. I'd say it's a little floody, I reckon. All right. Let's see if I can at least get him on the camera. Doesn't feel very well connected. Okay, what have I pinned here? At least let us get a look in. That was a nice little hit. Well, there you go. What have we got here? Let's see if I can actually get it in. I was going to throw the hooks. What have we got? Oh, it's gone. It was a herring. It was a herring. I pinned a herring. I thought that was a little flooded the way it took that. Yeah, I don't know what that school was behind that white bait. But they were not hanging around. I went through them once and some of them turned, but I just spooked them. All right. Oh, one again. So there must be a school. There's bait out here now, for sure. I've just hooked up again. All right, change your lure, Nolan. You're going to keep losing these fish. So there's definitely that's all the white bait that's come in. Has brought these fish in. It's not not a monster. So I can get him on camera anyway. There's definitely a school of herring here now. So, not a bad one either. Get him in, beach him in. There he is, another little herring. So that's what's out there swimming. I don't normally pin them on the jigs. Come here, bud. So that's probably what was, Nolan, have you held fish very long? That's pretty cool. You can come down these beaches. Oh, there's the bait. So they're all herring chasing the white bait. That's so cool. We'll probably keep this one for lunch as well. And we'll keep going to the beaches. But yeah, I don't normally pin them with those jigs. Usually use trebles, but that's cool. I'm happy with that. Success. I got a fish and not the flathead that I was after. But it just goes to show, you know, you walk these beaches, check out the structure, have a cast. Beautiful West Australian herring. We're going to quickly dispatch him mainly. I want to keep fishing, but I want to also go look at some other beaches. So, all right, bud, we'll let him have his last bit of fun. I know. Very cool. All right, let's go to the next beach. All right, we've had our fun. We're going to head off to the next beach, but just goes to show you can have so much fun off these beaches. Yes, you're not catching trophy monster fish, but you can spec your gear down. I'm using 11-foot Assassin Rapid Spin. It is a long rod, but I'm only fishing 10 and 15 pound, you know, setups with my reels, so I'm still having a lot of fun. So what happened when I was down there at this first spot, the white bait moved in, obviously the herring pushed them in, and they're just holding there now. So if you had some burley as well, you'd be able to probably have quite a lot of fun down there. But I've had my fun. I've checked out the structure. I've managed to hook a couple of fish, got an extra one for lunch. So I'm going to put this one in the cooler bag in the car. I want to go check out one more beach, and then we'll go and have some fish wraps. But I'm loving this coast. We just live in such a special place. We are absolutely, truly blessed to live here. So I wasn't actually expecting to catch anything, but that bait obviously got pushed in. The herring came through, and that was a lot of fun. So I will try to bring the camera gear down a little bit more and to show you legends, what I look for, you know, how lucky I can be at times, I guess. Now the walk back to the car, not so much fun, but what a cracking day. That sea breeze is just coming through now, so we'll head off to the next location. Phew.